Nature gathering its forces for still another unending assault on man.
1-800-EMBASSY for residents.
It sounds like it came right out of a zombie movie.
Computers are living in homes with basements.
Go below and stay below ground level.
It's so comfy. I love a movie. I love you.
Tornado warning.
Come here. Come here.
April 9th, 2015, a tornado begins to form
my
during the
birthday.
evening hours in the small town of Franklin Grove, Illinois, quickly growing larger and larger by the minute, to the point of reaching an unprecedented size for the area.
That's a big hole.
Miles away in the town of Fairdale, 67-year-old
What up, Court?
Geraldine Schultz spotted the vortex forming in the
Geraldine?
distance. Worried, she
Oh,
called her
hell
husband
no.
Clem into the kitchen, where the two would stand watching the tornado out their window.
Geraldine
For the couple,
and
tornadoes
Clem.
were nothing new, and Clem was quickly able to determine that the storm would likely miss them to the
Who
east.
the fuck lives in Kansas? That state's known for tornadoes, like tornadoes all the time, like ripping up, tearing up property, picking people, throwing them thousands of feet in the sky and killing them. Who the fuck wants to live in that state, bro?
But just to be safe, he went
Any
upstairs to
day,
grab some lanterns
by
in the
wind.
likely event of a power outage. Upon doing so, Clem would catch a glimpse of the tornado outside the bedroom window, having grown significantly closer. Its wind speeds were well over 200 miles an hour, and having been classified as an EF4, it was the largest twister the area had ever seen. In awe of its size, Clem began to record out the window, still
my
certain that the
God.
storm was heading east.
Yeah, apparently you can't tell which direction these giant tornadoes are going until they're right up on top of you.
But unfortunately, he was wrong. And in reality, the powerful storm was heading directly towards him.
Doing
By the
good
time
work.
Clem would realize this,
About
it
you.
was far too late. There was no time to run, and not a chance to hide. All he could do was stand there helplessly and watch.
At least you got a good video of it. Damn, that's terrifying. Holy fuck.
It was a direct
Clem
hit
die?
as the EF4 tornado tore through the house before Clem could even say a word, quickly turning the home that had once stood there for 100 years to dust and rubble.
That's
And buried
so
beneath it all
sad.
was Clem, along with his wife of 25
Nature
years.
reclaims all, chat.
They got fire rescue on the way, okay?
Against all odds, Clem would somehow survive, pulling
What the
himself up from the
fuck?
field of debris. It was a storm that would go on to
Clem?
destroy numerous homes and take the lives of two people, one of whom was Clem's neighbor and good friend Jacqueline Closa, who lived in the house.
More gifts with 100 bits. You sweet fucking motherfucker, you. Thank you so much for 100 bits. I appreciate you.
House that Clem had filmed being destroyed
Thank
just
you, thank
moments
you.
before it struck him, and the other being
It's still a
Geraldine,
general- Bro, you
Clem's
think he
wife
became
and
Batman?
best friend.
That bitch.
Days following the disaster, a family member who had been searching the area for anything salvageable would stumble across Clem's phone, which miraculously was still working.
It's probably
And
like a
on it would be
Nokia
the
or
now
something.
infamous video that showed the point of view of a man being struck head-on by a tornado and somehow surviving.
But if you see
The
a
imagery,
tornado, why
the
not
sounds,
walk
and the
to the
context
side of
make
it?
this clip one of
Like,
the most shocking
coming
I
this
have
way,
ever seen, as
walk
well as
that
one of the
way.
darkest across all of YouTube.
Am I tripping?
The tornado has passed. Capricious, swift,
Join the
savage.
biscuit cord. Chat. We should have yummy food night. You're my man Kush today? Hell yeah. Who else popping pussy right now?
Before we
watching
move
a
on to the next video, I
very
want to briefly
serious
thank
video.
today's sponsor,
High-tech way to find out who's at the door.
With a video doorbell,
You'll never miss a visitor.
Chat, you guys got a Ring doorbell? That's the one downside about having a ring, is seeing something that truly scars you and scares you one day on that shit.
In the past few years, the world has seen a boom in the use of doorbell cameras, mainly because of instances like this.
Oh, they got a camera. Oh, they got a camera.
Capturing and exposing
Yeah, no,
criminals
it's
in the
worth
act, from the most
I love
petty of
my ring.
thieves
The
all the way
girl
to attempted murderers and
This
kidnappers.
video.
Due to their knack for capturing disturbing encounters, the videos that have emerged from these devices have practically carved out their own genre here on YouTube, to the point that many, including myself, have almost become desensitized to them. But recently, a video began making the rounds showing the events that transpired at a Las Vegas home on the evening of July 21st, 2021, and it proved to be one of the most chilling I have ever seen. It happened
Oh,
around
shit.
8 p.m., where a young lady had been working in her kitchen, waiting for
those
her husband to return
papayas?
home from work. It was another 100-degree day in Vegas, and likely in an attempt to cool down, she would open her window to let the evening breeze in. Unbeknownst to her, this harmless decision would lead to a terrifying series of events. Outside of the home, a man had been wandering the suburban streets aimlessly, roaming throughout the neighborhood before stopping in his tracks. In front of him was
Close that
the open window
turn on the
and a clear
AC.
view of the woman inside.
It's not
It
worth
was a
it.
chance sighting that would lead to the man approaching the house and ringing the doorbell, where the camera would begin to record.
Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you.
What the
Are
fuck?
you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you. Are you sure? What? Are you sure?
Are you sure?
I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you. Are you sure?
The man stands there ringing the doorbell and knocking at the door, repeating the same sentences over and over again, calmly stating that he just wants to ask a few questions. However, the woman inside had never met this man. In fact, she had never seen him before this moment. And to make it all stranger, she didn't respond to anything the man was saying, and was out of his line of view as he peeked through the door. So the phrases that he was saying were not in response to anyone, and instead, he was speaking to himself. Fearing for her safety, the woman inside didn't open the door or engage him at all, leading the man to take things a
Bro, when I see Umi, she's like, I got a few tricks.
step further.
Are you positive?
I bet
just
she
have a couple
does,
questions for you. Are you sure?
I bet that mouth is a journey.
Are you sure?
You see a hallucination inside, that'd be lit.
He begins trying to open the door, but thankfully it was locked, causing the strange man to start walking away, cursing under his breath. The footage is incredibly off-putting, and although the man seems to stay perfectly calm, there was something very aggressive and erratic about the way he was speaking, making one wonder what his true intentions were when he approached the house. As the man begins to walk away, the woman's husband, still at work, would chime in through the doorbell after noticing the situation begin to unfold, which in turn would lead to the man revealing why he was ringing the doorbell.
How are you? What? Yeah?
Are you sure?
Who are you? Hey, I just had a couple questions. I just wanted to ask you about a TV show. Yeah, can you hear me? What I'm looking for is for the girl that's in the house to come out here because I'm going to rape her and kill her. Can you have her open the door? I'm going to rape and kill the girl that's on the other side of this door when she lets me in.
It was no secret what he had planned for that evening. He outright says it, even revealing that he had the weapons to make it happen.
I want to rape her and kill her because I have a knife and a gun. And I'm going to knock on her door again.
If that woman had opened the door, or if that door had been unlocked, well, we know what would have happened. But
you gotta have a
thankfully,
gun,
neither of
ladies.
those situations played out,
Get yourself
and
that
instead the
gat.
man walked away muttering
right.
the same phrases over and over again.
Yeah. What?
Even staring at the house for a few moments before finally disappearing into the night. Police were called to the area moments later, but the man was nowhere to be found. As quickly
What
as
the
he had
fuck?
entered this couple's life, he was now gone, leaving them with the reality that
My
at
dad,
any
for
moment
real. No, I'm
he
kidding.
could return. Scared for her life, the lady posted the clip online, where it would quickly go viral across YouTube, which honestly may have ended up saving a life. The following day, a viewer of the video would recognize the same man walking in another residential area, in one that was not too far away from the house where the encounter took place. And after the
Was he
police
not
were called,
caught?
the man
Yeah.
would be quickly
He was
arrested
gentleman.
before he could
I
play
guess you
out
could
his
say that.
disturbing fantasy. When confronted and asked for his name, the man would simply state that he was the Holy Spirit, and said
Real.
nothing more. Though his real name was revealed to be Christopher Sums, a man who had passed charges of stealing, assaulting, and intimidating a witness, with his mugshot being nothing short of
What
completely
the
haunting.
fuck?
But what I found most surprising was the fact that he didn't always look like this. In fact, just a few years ago, he looked completely normal. And according to his LinkedIn, he had a fairly impressive work history
Drugs
and
will
what
do
seemed to
that to
be
you,
a good
Chad.
life, until for whatever reason, things spiraled in the wrong direction. As it stands, Christopher is being evaluated to
religious
see if he is
figures.
mentally fit to stand trial,
Satan in
as many
disguise.
believe that he
Well, I'm sure someone from like, you know, China who grew up Buddhist or whatever would, you know, reference something that they grew up around, you know.
likely suffers from some kind of psychological condition, hence the repeating phrases and the strange behavior. Though his
Morgue. Did Morgue do something that I can't see?
blatant and rapid change in
I love your
appearance
voice. Thank
might
you.
also point to heavy drug use or
A twink's death, chat.
even a combination of both. But regardless of what was behind his behavior that day, the situation and the subsequent video is haunting and could have been so much worse had that door been opened.
Are you sure?
I feel like
Are
everyone
you
got
sure?
together.
This is Tababa
Professor
Mukonnen.
McConaughey posted this.
YouTube is a site
But
that
Morgue
draws in
is a
people
W.
from all walks of
Still.
life, each with their own unique motivation for starting up their channels.
Speaking
Some
of
are in it
YouTube,
for the money and the
posted a YouTube
fame,
video on my
while
main
others are in
channel.
it for
Like,
the
comment,
love of creating
repost
content.
me.
But sprinkled throughout the site are a select few who come here to feel heard and to get something off their chest. Something that for 27-year-old Tabebe Mukonnen would be
Tababy?
his primary motivation for posting
Chat, he's not da baby, he's da baby. Let's go.
his first and only video on March 17th, 2018. Tabebe had struggled his whole life with mental illness,
So is
suffering from
DaBaby.
both schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. These
Da
mental
Baby.
illnesses led to an event in
fancy son of a gun.
2013 where he would wander off from his home unprovoked. Outside, he
Yeah.
began to walk for miles, essentially in a daze, before finding himself in what he described as a very dangerous part of town. Thankfully, Tabebe would be safely found before anything had happened to him, but this incident would prove to be life-changing, as it would lead to his hospitalization due to his unpredictable and dangerous behavior.
Morgue is. I'm
This would
just
also
letting you-
start a long
Better
spell
late
of
than
being
never.
given heavy medication to help with his schizophrenia and bipolar disorder.
Baby.
Over the course of the
Da Vinci.
next 4 years, Tabebe would find himself in and out of the hospital and prescribed a variety of powerful antipsychotic drugs, something that would consume his life as he felt like he
Those look yummy.
was no longer in control of his actions. And feeling trapped, he would turn to YouTube to share his
Traps? Oh. Chat, my brain's just hearing what it wants to hear tonight.
story.
Hello, this is Tababa Mukonnen.
Must be scary. I have someone someone in my family that's really bad schizophrenia. Insane. I've seen some
Talking
crazy
and
shit.
putting this video because I wanted to bring awareness to a situation
Take 'em
that I'm
out.
dealing with that's very painful. I was hospitalized June 25th, 2013. I went there to supposedly get an IV. I ended up being forced to take medication. And it was pure hell. They gave me Haldol risperidol, and they were forcing antipsychotics down my throat. It was absolute torture and hell.
In the 10-minute video, Tebebe made it clear that he was not consenting to this medical treatment.
It's like Lord of the Rings music.
And he explained how the medication he was forced to take made him feel like a zombie, even saying that it had gotten so bad that he had thoughts of taking his own life.
It was bad. It was really bad, and I had suicidal ideation.
Throughout the clip, Tebebe comes across as intelligent and well-spoken, but traces of his illness shine through periodically. For instance, he explains how immediately after being released from
his financial situation has nothing to do with the story, I don't think. Maybe finances played a part, but him being poor, I'm not sure, Ali. Not sure what you get out of that. You know, classism sucks. Not everyone's got money, you know?
the hospital on multiple occasions, he would wander away from his home, even attempting to be homeless for a while admitting that he didn't know why this was an issue, or why it would always lead to him going back to the hospital.
I got off, and I think I had another episode, as they like to say, where I said I wanted to be homeless. That's it. All I said was I wanted to be homeless. So, and I proceeded to be homeless.
Chat, what if one day we all just walked outside and decided to be homeless? Let's all meet up in California or Hawaii where the weather's decent and just be homeless together. Like, we can make money by Santa Monica Pier, Venice Pier. We can, dance around, do silly shit, just enough for a Big Mac or something, and then just wander around, LA and California for the rest of the day. Posted up on Skid Row. Okay, I would not go to... I've been to Skid Row. Shit is terrifying.
And next thing I know, the cops came and they arrested me and they took me back to the hospital. Then after that, I left and I tried to be homeless again, and I was hospitalized again.
But things would be further escalated as Tebebe casually explains how he has violent outbursts, even resorting to punching multiple people who were trying to give him medication, as well as starving himself in retaliation.
So I started getting violent, and I started punching people, and I started attacking people in the hospital, and they had to tie me down. I began to lash out like, I'm going to protest this. I'm going to starve myself as a way of hopefully stopping this ridiculous forced treatment for absolutely nothing.
And by the end of the video, Tebebe flat out explains that he does not have any sort of mental illness, or have any symptoms for that matter, calling what was happening to him an injustice.
I guess I'm just trying to let you guys know the injustice that goes on.
In this video,
it's a truly depressing situation.
Schizophrenia. He's looking at the others.
As on one hand, he is being forced to take medication that essentially makes him feel dead inside, while on the other hand, it seems very apparent that treatment is necessary to not only keep others around him, but himself safe, as he doesn't seem fully aware of how serious some of his actions are.
That's what I'm saying. I kind of like the lazy eye look. I figured it out. Like, because it's like, the Ayago face or whatever, the anime face that girls be making. That's what that shit kind of reminds me of, just 24/7. Keep reading chat, that's how I be streaming, bro. I was talking about his lazy eye. Look at the chat box.
Tebebe concluded the video by asking those watching what they thought of his situation, and though it didn't garner many views, a select few would stumble upon
Listen, I'm not seeing what they're seeing
it, and agree with his stance that the treatment he was receiving was unlawful, with many insinuating that he should continue to protest and not take his medication. These comments are, unfortunately, no longer available, as just a few weeks ago the video was removed, but they had been reflected across multiple sites as people called out the commenters for essentially trying to convince someone to go off his medication cold turkey, and doing so without knowing the true extent of his medical history, which obviously is irresponsible and potentially very dangerous. But unfortunately, these conflicting viewpoints came years later, and in that time surrounding
you look just like Nick Fury.
Video's release, Tebebe had likely found the verification he was looking for. He was going to keep protesting his medication. This video would be the first and last that we would ever hear from Tebebe, but it wouldn't be the last we'd hear of him. Just 2 months following the video, Tebebe would make the local news after having an encounter at the hospital. There, a therapist entered his room to talk with him, when suddenly Tebebe snapped, grabbing her and refusing to let go, while performing lewd gestures toward her, and eventually pinning her on the ground, refusing to let her go. The situation led to Tebebe being arrested for sexual battery, but no jail time was ever given, as instead, a plea deal was reached where Tebebe agreed to stay in the hospital, and most importantly, he agreed to go back on his medication and take it as prescribed. It's this note that hints at the idea that he had likely gone off his medication before this incident, something that would have directly led to his violent outburst. And given the event's proximity to the video that he had just posted, and the comments supporting his desire to stop taking his medication, it's not hard to theorize that Tebebe may have cut off his meds due to the advice of his comment section, or at the very least was further convinced that it was the right thing to do. Regardless, it seemed clear that the inconsistencies with his medication had caused him to lose control, and this wouldn't be the last time. In the summer of 2019, Tebebe was staying at an Embassy Suites hotel with his mother Zalem Abje, who had been caring for him around the clock. He had been moved there from the hospital as part of his treatment plan, as it kept him close by and easy to monitor regularly, but it also made him free of being cooped up in a hospital room, which clearly he didn't enjoy. The change of scenery was likely supposed to calm Tebebe and his growing anger issues, but unfortunately, his violent outbursts did not stop there. On August 20th at 1:30 a.m., Tebebe would get into an altercation with his mother in their hotel room. It's not clear what had started the arguments, but things would quickly turn physical, as Tebebe started to shove his mother, pushing her so hard that it would knock her out of the room, and then onto their balcony. Their room was on one of the top floors of the hotel, and it overlooked the lobby down below, and in one more violent outburst, Tebebe would give one final push, this time knocking her all the way over the railing, causing her to plummet to the ground below. She did not survive the impact. Tebebe Mokanen was arrested at the scene and held at a holding center where he remains to this day, awaiting his trial, though his crime is clear, and it's likely he will spend the rest of his life either behind bars or in some kind of institution. The events that happened on that fateful morning are...
What the fuck? Shamari Stone? What the fuck? That guy is Shamari Stone, chat. What you guys know about Shamari Stone? Holy fucking shit, chat. It's motherfucking Shamari Stone.
Still somewhat unknown to this day, though we do know the events that led up to it, and the years of hurt and anger that Tebebe had built up, as well as his inconsistent and dangerous use of antipsychotics, which, unsurprisingly, it appears that he had again attempted to take himself off of his meds in the time surrounding his murderous fit, with this
that's his Twitter page
being used as the likely reason for his behavior that day, something that was telegraphed in one single video, which, looking back, almost foreshadows the tragic events that were soon to come, events that may have been further spurred on by the viewers watching him.
Shamari's a freaky
right out
boy.
of a zombie movie.
Our next video takes us across the world to the Philippines in mid-July 2014. The story begins on a tragic note, as a family says their goodbyes to their 3-year-old daughter. In the days prior, the young girl had developed a severe fever, and without access to an up-to-date medical facility.
Okay, so I saw Shamari Stone pop up on the screen, because of, this YouTube video, and I was like, that name is familiar, and I honestly put it together. So a while back, this account on Instagram followed me, and their name was Shamari Stone, and this was before you could buy the verification on Instagram, and they were verified, and I think he has like 400,000 followers on Instagram. So back in the day, if a verified account messaged you, it would go straight through your requests and just go into your DMs, right? And I remember he was like telling me what he does for work. He's like, I'm a pretty big reporter. He goes, you should come visit me someday. And he was like, do you sell pictures? And I was like, ah, bro, like, nah. And and then that was kind of the end of it. He was just a horn dog of types, you know? I get a piece of some snow, yeah. But anyways, he found me through TikTok. And then I just remember Shomari Stone, and then holy fuck, there he is. One of his little readings. Dirt on Shamari. I mean, not really. I mean, that's what people just be doing that nowadays. They think that they can like because listen, bro, I know a lot of dudes, like probably like 80% of dudes who make TikToks and have TikTok followings like me, they'll never admit to this, but I know for a fact because I just know for a fact that like old dudes like that, like will hit him up all the time and pay him $200-300 for pictures or this or that from like these like medium to famous TikTok guys. Like it's super common. Like, but I probably get asked all the time. People just you sell me some private pics. Don't worry, it's not going anywhere. Like it happens all the time. Nah, it's not even bold anymore. It's super common.
She would pass away in the morning hours on July 12th,
Sounds
with
gross.
no pulse
Yeah, bro.
and
People just think I'm for sale. They're just like message me like, yo, how much? How much do you sell for? Like, oh, kind of crazy shit.
no heartbeat. The little girl was pronounced dead and taken home to prepare for the funeral, which would be held the next day.
She's dead.
It was obviously a somber event,
How
as the
much,
girl was
though?
placed in her
Give me some
casket and the
prices.
lid was shut. Family members and loved ones gathered around to celebrate
Oh no,
the short
I know it's terrible for girls. Like there's a difference with girls, especially most girls. It'll happen to any girl. Doesn't matter if you have 5 followers or 5 million followers. Like, um, yeah, like it's definitely worse. Sometimes they're not even trying to pay; they just trying to freak over the interwebs. I mean, I don't mind it. Like, it doesn't bother me personally. Said it's not for sale. They see them white with. No, for real, bro. But like so many dudes do it with them, they just assume I'm another one that's gonna do it. But like, listen, bro, I've honestly come close, like in my life. I mean, not like recently, but like money's been tight. I wanted to do this. So I'm just like, wow, an extra $1,000 would really change my life. And like, some of these people are like really wanting to put up the money, and I'm just like, bro, and here's my thing, bro. I've made it about 3 years now. I had to roll over and sell my dignity yet. I'll make it to the end the same way. Fuck it, chat. Listen, we'll figure it out. You know what I mean? But
life.
sometimes I'm just like, you just want my Nike socks for $500? I don't advise. And like I said, I also like, I'm like a creator in a way. And so like if I have a young audience, like I know not everybody's 18 plus, especially in the Discord on TikTok, like they Google me. I don't want them to see that shit. And if I have a kid someday, like my son, I'm like, yeah, bro, like you Google a picture of my dick, you kinda gay for that and weird. But if it's like my daughter and like someone wants to bully her and sends it to my daughter like a nude of me, that'd break my motherfucking. Don't go down that route. Not the sucks. Now wait a minute, bro. Ozzy's like, oh, you're messing up my sales.
Of a child who deserved so much more,
Oh,
and watch as she
Ozzy's
was
like, bro,
placed
I'm
into the
trying to make a
ground,
buy.
which would be her final resting place.
Bro.
But before that would happen, one of the neighbors had been in charge of arranging the young girl's body before burial. Though something strange happened when he went to do so. Inside the coffin, the young girl's head began to move. It was a slight
But
twitch.
listen, chat. One more big heartbreak in my life. I'm crashing out, chat. Listen, I'm gonna DJ everywhere. I'm gonna take all the money I can get, do all the drugs I can, travel everywhere, run through as many bitches as I can. Listen, chat. I'm telling you, one more heartbreak, It's over for everybody. Listen, I'm dogging out everyone. I'm sick of this shit. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I'll leave it at that.
But in a panic, the neighbor checked for a pulse only to discover that her heart was still beating.
Listen. There's been so many opportunities where, like, especially like when, bro, it's insane. Like you get a little bit of followers, and or anything, and like people are interested in you, right? And there's been so many people like, oh, like let's just hook up, and like never have I just like taken like, oh, like fuck it, let's just do it. But like, bro, sometimes I think I'm just like, what if I just did it, bro? What if I was just like, fuck it, let's do it, and I just started fucking bitches, bro? The only thing I'm afraid of, bro, is like I could never, for two reasons. Like I have a hard time getting like an erection around someone I'm not in a relationship with or like attached to. And number two is I'm terrified of STDs. Like I've made it this far in my life and I'm clean. Like I want to get married and be clean. And like nowadays, bro, everybody's fucking everybody. Everyone's getting shit. Everyone has 35 plus bodies. Bro, the other day I was talking to some people and they were like, this person was like, oh yeah, I have 38 bodies. And I was like, God damn. And they're like, what? That's low. That's nothing. And I was like, what the fuck are guys out here fucking like whole fucking Jesus Christ. Low is sick, 35, what the hell? Yeah, I'm not even kidding, bro. I'm not even kidding. Got an echo. Listen, I don't judge. Like, if you want to have a lot of sex, I'm not like slut shaming anyone. I don't think that's bad. And like I don't think that makes you more or less of a person. It really doesn't. But it like just like statistically it's just raising the chances of getting an STD. And like I want to have kids. I want to live a long fruitful life. So like yes, Allie. Yes, I've seen that clip. Gotta get my points up. Yeah, dude. And I remember like, oh, what's your body count? And I told them, they're like, you're lying. You're lying. They're like, we've seen this, we've seen that. You're definitely having. And I'm like, no, bro. I'm not. Like, I guess I'm just fumbling. Like I like, damn, you know. But no, it's really not like crazy at all. Like it's lower than anybody expects. I'll say that.
And the young girl was breathing. One of the family members begins to record as the sudden wave of realization hits that the child was actually alive.
To have a in my legs. Too pretty to fumble. Now, my body count like this, my head count. Okay, listen, I love some sloppy. Sloppy's hard to turn down, especially in certain situations. Let me just put that out there to like. I don't wanna seem like some sort of saint over here because I'm not perfect. But listen,
It's the ultimate case of what if. Had that person not opened the casket to reposition the body, then that little girl would have been buried alive, and no one would have ever known.
I'm just being honest.
It's a clip that I'm sure many of you have seen by now, as the original video itself has garnered over 1 million views.
Bro, let me check. Let me check. You guys want to see the right, we're clear. You guys want to see the ultimate like I made it, like no one can fuck with me, like bro, shit like this happens to me and I remember just like, all right, son, be humble. I'll take you on a date. Can I have a date where I get $5 trillion? I gotta show you guys this. All right. I'm just gonna show you because like if I say this you're like, yeah, that happened. Sure. But like I gotta like I said, this is just how it is. Like I said, I have my issues. I'd love to have that kind of date myself. That's gonna do is $35. Honestly, I would take it at that point. I would honestly take that shit. I got this, I think, 2 days ago. Whatever. I talked about it on stream, and like I said, bro. There's nothing better than this. Like there's just nothing better, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just I just get the W. I win, you lose. It like it just made my day, bro. Like take your L, bro. Take your L.
Views. And topping that, a news station that covered the
The
story
ultimate
currently
win.
sits
That's what I'm
with
saying,
25
bro.
million
No better
views.
feeling.
It's one of the more viral horror stories that I've ever
Nice.
seen on YouTube, as seemingly everyone knows about this infamous video,
And then I
rightfully
ghosted
so.
like
I mean,
5
it's one of the
messages
craziest
later
stories I have ever
to
seen,
ever
both
say
on
this to
YouTube or
anyone.
in the news.
But this person, like every time they've ever tried to talk to me or reach out to me, I've been like nonchalant as fuck, right? And then they messaged me the other day, and just with my life and everything going on, it's weird timing, especially with me going back to North Carolina soon. And they're like, "Hey, I have a serious question." And so I was just like, "Oh shit, like what the fuck?" I was like, "Hey," I was like, "What's up?" And I hadn't talked to this person like 3 years, and then so I kind of entertained it. No, no, no.
News. But the only problem is, this viral
Yeah, yo,
video
X for a
didn't tell the
reason.
whole story. The story itself does in fact appear to be true,
Insurance.
having
They
been
always come
confirmed
crawling
by
back.
Philippine
Always, bro.
officials who
At
admitted
least
that a
once.
mistake had been made in that particular hospital, which led to the mix-up and almost to the mistaken burial. But the story doesn't have the happy ending that many of us thought, as in reality, that child
In chat, it's not even my looks that they miss me for. I promise you that. I promise you that. Like, not even trying to toot my own horn, bro. Like, I'm just fun to hang out with, bro. Like, when you hang out with me in like my life, bro, like I'm just constantly yapping. I'm constantly just like, dude, imagine if this happened. Like, oh, let's go do this. What's that over there? Let's check this out. I'll Google something. I'm like, bro, let's go do this. I'm just like, oh, like time, like let's wake up, let's go to the gym. Like, let's make sure we eat something healthy. Like, bro, I promise you, like, your life will not be better afterward. Like, there's just no way because, like, I'm such an individual that just, like, puts everything together and does shit. Yeah, bro, it's not even the looks because, like, bro, there are a million pretty people. You know what I mean?
never actually woke up.
There's always someone
She
prettier.
did have a pulse and shallow breathing, but she would never regain consciousness and remained in a comatose state. In fact, just 2 days after this video was taken,
Oh yeah,
and on the
and
15th of
I have this crazy stroke method. I call it my up and under, and it always gets them, and they always remiss the up and under stroke method. But other than that, all personality. That's what it's about.
July, she would once again
Love
be
leaving my
pronounced
mark, I
dead,
know.
this time for real. But looking back on the viral video viewed by millions, the anchors say that she was fine, calling it a miracle.
Happy tears, knowing that thankfully she's fine.
Right, listen. You guys want a tutorial for real?
I'm glad they opened that casket to check
Visual
to
learning.
move around.
Now, it may be possible that they
Listen,
just
the up
didn't
and
know this
under-
at the time.
The up and under is a great way to have some fun in the bedroom, right? Basically, what you do is like, listen, bro. I'm a G. It's like I'm always sitting in a chair, like just smoking a blunt or something, chilling. So like, I always come up like, get her to sit on your lap or something, bro. Right? Kiss her or whatever. Kind of get her turned around where she's sitting on your lap, but she's facing that way. And like, you know, you're like putting your hand around her throat, feeling her tits. You know, you're getting ready, bro, to have sex. Anyways, the up and under is when they're sitting on your lap like that, right? Put your arms up under their legs, just like, and you kind of put your pelvis into it, and so it's like it is like centrifugal force, two forces meeting each other, and like you're just kind of holding them up, and then your biceps are flexing, so like it's just over. Bro, trust me. And the thing is, like, no dude ever fucks them like that. No dude ever fucks them like that. It sticks in their head. Like, no guy ever thinks of that. So, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, if they're too old, like Sweet Brown, you might break something, so be careful. Oh, this was G-rated. Trust me, bro. That's some Pornhub shit. No, bro, it's some DJ Sin shit. It's trademarked. You see that on Pornhub? They got it from me somehow. Stretch first.
As based off of the way they're talking, it seems like the report would have came out the day or the day after the child was found alive. Only that's not true either,
yeah, bro.
as the child was determined to be alive.
One day, like I'm like gonna realize like I'm like 50 or 45. Like I got like a bitch. She tries to do it. She's like, oh shit. I'm like, oh damn, I'm getting old. We're not that limber anymore. Now we understand the rumors, the sex cult rumors. Chat. If the sex cult rumors, am I fucking people in the cult? You know what? If you want to find out, January 17th, come find out for yourself. And yeah, that's all you can do.
Live on the 13th of July, and once again pronounced dead on the 15th, just 2 days later. Yet this video was published a full month later, on August 13th, 2014. So when this video went live, that little girl was long gone, and this is something that they likely knew.
The cult is facing actual accusations and bad media coverage, fake news about being a sex cult, and crazy allegations. No one is having sex. Like apparently to work your way up through the cult, you gotta do. Yeah, it's fucked. It's fucked. It really isn't. Like, well, are we? I've never had sex. Good. Keep it that way. Not me. The up and under. Yeah, who gonna tell him about the up and under? I would leave. I have a feeling our numbers might increase if that was the
as it had been well reported in other major news outlets on the day of her actual passing. I mean, nowadays, even the top Google result for this incident mentions her passing, and it came out on the very day it happened. So when this video went live, they had to...
We should play a game of body count war. Everyone gets in a Discord lobby call right now. I grab 2 random people. They say their body count at the same time. Whoever's higher stays, whoever's lower goes, and we keep going random people until there's 1 person left.
To have known it wasn't true. What started on its own as one of the darkest videos on the site has now become even more twisted as the true ending has been revealed. A miracle that turned out to be nothing more than a mirage, leading to even more heartbreak as the family was now forced to grieve and come to terms with this girl's passing twice. And it's made even worse by the news report that has essentially rewritten the story's ending. But looking at just the video and the story as is, of how everything unfolded, it's still truly horrifying that this little girl was almost buried alive, whether she was conscious or not. And it makes me wonder how many others have been in that dreadful situation, buried alive by a mistake.
Bro, good thing Kato wasn't here earlier, bro. He could have not have handled that conversation. Bro, I can't tell if Unk's trolling. He said he's been married and divorced.
The answer to that question is one that we'll quite literally never know, since it is sealed within the claustrophobic walls of a dark coffin, with no hope of escape.
And that's the IMAP.
Computers are coming your way.
Divorce is often one of the more traumatic experiences that a young child can go through, as many are left in a state of confusion.
Why are children getting divorced? I'm confused. Are there little children who are married somewhere? Is that legal? Children going through divorce? What the fuck? Damn, bro. Imagine imagine there's kids getting married and look at our old asses. Still single, still unmarried. What are we doing?
And distress at such a tumultuous time in their life. And for a young man named Daniel Bartlam,
damn, bro's paying alimony and child support and he's not even out of middle school.
His childhood was sadly no different. Growing up in Nottinghamshire...
No, actually, kids are fucking crazy nowadays. Like, I know like every generation says that, oh, the kids nowadays are crazy. But no, bro, kids are actually fucking insane. They're like vaping, huffing galaxy gas, like carrying guns to school, like having shiesties, like having like 14 bodies and like whole ass jobs and careers. It's insane.
England, Daniel's parents,
They're little
Jackie and
adults.
Adrian, would separate following the
me a
birth of
bitch, for
Daniel's
real.
younger brother, with the situation leading to a split in the
They're
family,
scary, bro.
as the young boys would move to a new home with their mother. This brought Daniel to an unfamiliar town, as well as a brand new school. And to top it all off, Daniel's mother would soon find a new partner, further adding to the confusion that Daniel must have been feeling. All of these circumstances would lead Daniel to a declining mental state, as he began to isolate himself in his room, barely speaking to his family. Daniel's mother, Jackie, was well aware of the change in his behavior, and she soon thought of the perfect way to bring him out of this depression. So she saved up some money on the side until she eventually had enough to buy
That's how I get out of depression.
Daniel his very own iMac, a computer that he had been asking for years. At the time, Daniel had a vested interest in technology, even having his own YouTube channel dedicated to the topic. But this new computer meant an upgrade in quality and a future with limitless possibilities. Overjoyed, Daniel quickly began a new channel and dedicated his very first upload to his new device.
Is this me? Solve the depression. I mean, real. It did for me, chat. I was depressed. I got a computer, started streaming. I met all you great people, and now my depression is. I'm alive.
Hello YouTube, this is Daniel AB1702 here, and it's finally happened. I now have an iMac, and I can now make bigger and better videos.
The editing.
The video is clearly nothing too special, as the quality is about what you would expect from a kid his age who was just starting out, and the following videos were much the same, with these uploads simply being compilations from a show he liked. It all may not have seemed like much, but this computer, along with this new channel, seemed to be the spark that he so badly needed, a new passion and a new outlook on life. But strangely, after just a few uploads, the account would go silent.
Me and Ben made old YouTube videos, and I tried so hard to find. This is how I sound like a little ass girl, and I think they date back all the way to like 2013. Like, they're insane. If I could somehow found them.
This is something that happens all the time on YouTube, where a creator starts posting with high aspirations before abandoning their work, and it's typically due to a lack of success or just the overall busyness of life. But in Daniel's case, his reason for leaving was far darker, as right around the time of his last upload, he would experience the ultimate tragedy.
I don't even think Homelander could have got that out of me.
On the morning of April 25th, 2011, neighbors of Daniel had reported hearing a commotion coming from his home. That commotion would soon turn to chaos, as the house suddenly erupted into flames, with smoke billowing out all sides. Through the commotion, Daniel would emerge from the home with his little brother and dog in hand, but his mother was nowhere to be found. Police and fire units arrived at the scene quickly, but were already too late, as inside the home they would find the badly burned and disfigured body of Jackie. And surprisingly, they'd soon notice that it wasn't the fire that had done her in, but rather she had been brutally murdered with what appeared to be
who set fire to this house. It was fucking Allie Frog. She has, bro, Allie has fire accusations. She has accusations of setting things on fire, bro. It was her.
Hammer. The scene was shocking and incredibly chaotic.
Bro, she actually does. Like, it's not even a joke. Like, on TikTok, bro, I saw this video and they were like the police are looking for you. They're like, what location is this? Whose house did you burn down? Bro, like, what the fuck, Allie? What did you do? Like, why are people saying that?
But luckily, Daniel had been there to explain everything. According to the child, a masked burglar had entered the home before confronting his mother. The confrontation then led to the anonymous person attacking Jackie with a hammer, causing her to collapse to the
Chat, I guess it was hammer time for Jackie.
floor. He then says the intruder lit her body on fire, leading Daniel to grab his brother and dog and escape from the blaze, saving what remained of his family as the murderer escaped out the back. Daniel's story stood out for several reasons, mainly because it showed Daniel was a hero for saving his brother and dog, and it showed just how
new merch idea. It's just a t-shirt that says not a sex cult. So we can really push our message out there.
Traumatic that morning must have been for him, as in the matter of one day,
You got
Daniel
bail, but you don't have that $50 you owe me?
lost his home and his mother in probably the most devastating way imaginable. But his story also stood out for one other reason, with that reason being in regards to the killer. As police began their investigation, they searched and searched for any clues left behind from this supposed masked intruder, but they found nothing. No fingerprints, no footprints, no anything. And looking for any semblance of a lead, they started to search through Daniel's room, where through the charred remains, they miraculously found his computer in perfect working order. Authorities would search the child's device when they stumbled upon something rather bizarre. It was a story that Daniel had typed months before in a Word document that was set as the scene of a soap opera that
what you have to do is when the mail truck passes your house, you have to stand outside with a torch, and so they know that's where it's getting delivered.
he had been writing. The story read, Daniel Bartlam, 1997 to 2047, the longest serving male character to be on the show. The only place he couldn't get away with his deeds was with his mother Jackie, so one evening he made it look as though it was a break-in, and murdered his mother with a hammer, and then set her and the family home alight, but helped his brother out to safety, and got his neighbors to contact the police. The story ends with Daniel lying to the police and getting away with murder. It was a shocking revelation, as his mother had been killed with a hammer and set on fire through what Daniel had described as a break-in, just as his story was written. And to make it all stranger, further investigation would reveal that in the days prior to Jackie's death, Daniel had attempted to delete the document, though he had failed to fully remove it. And the findings went deeper, as countless screenshots and clips of a character from a show called Coronation Street were found on the hard drive, with it appearing as though Daniel had an obsession with this character, which proved to be rather interesting, as the character, John Stape, was a villain who had murdered another character with a claw hammer, the same weapon used on his mother. Investigators would keep digging until they eventually found the nail in the coffin, as it was revealed that in the days prior to the attack, Daniel had searched how to get away with murder. With the slew of information and the lack of evidence that a break-in had ever occurred, Daniel's story quickly fell apart, until he eventually admitted the gruesome truth that he had been the one who had taken his mother's life. On the 24th of April, Daniel would spend the night in his room rewatching one of his favorite Saw movies. He then emerged from the room carrying a claw hammer and approached his sleeping mother. He proceeded to strike her 7 times in the face before eventually setting her body on fire and escaping the home with his brother and dog, acting as the hero who had quote-unquote saved the day, when in reality it was all his doing. And the entire series of events had been plotted out on the very computer that his mother gave him, the same computer that he had so excitedly made this video on just months before the attack.
I'm sorry, did you just say
To this
months?
day, we don't really know why Daniel chose to attack his mother, as any reason he's given has been fairly easily disproven, with many chalking it up to his tumultuous childhood, though we have learned
he was going through a divorce.
More information about his early years, with many of these stories proving to be incredibly disturbing and hinting at the idea that Daniel was mentally unwell. For instance, it was said that he had an obsession with gruesome movies and games that seemed to inspire his own violent thoughts as he began watching these graphic films at the age of 8. He took these films as inspiration to start writing his own stories, which almost—
That's like my biggest fear, Alec. Listen, John, imagine this. You get a kid, fucking work hard to raise it, you love it, you nurture it, you spend all your money on it, your whole life revolves around that kid, and one day that kid fucking murders you, ends your goddamn life. You only got like a good couple 10, 15, 20 years left, and they fucking kill you. I'd be so pissed. I'd be like, you little shit. You little fuck.
Almost always ended in death and murder, and the details of which were said to be incredibly intense. And in a much darker example, about 6 weeks before the murder, during a normal day at school, Daniel began desperately yanking at his tie, insisting that it was trying to strangle him. When further asked about this, he then revealed that he was hearing voices, and those voices were telling him to hurt people. But surprisingly, after being given a psychiatric evaluation, the counselor told his mother that there was nothing.
The valuable thing to me when it comes to like possessions or anything like that is gonna be time. Like, I don't like when people waste my time. Alucard! With a gifted sub! I appreciate the fuck out of you. Thank you so much. The voices in my head. Shout out Aluchet.
Nothing wrong with Daniel. But to be on the safe side, they did offer counseling that Jackie would quickly deny. A decision that, for her, may have ultimately proven fatal. Whatever made Daniel snap that day, it was seemingly a long time coming, and despite his young age, he would be sentenced to life in prison, with a chance for parole coming in the distant future. But the truly tragic note here is about his mother, Jackie, as she bought her son that iMac that he so clearly loved, and she did so in the hopes that it would bring some much-needed happiness during such a tough time in his life.
Kid looks like a bitch.
How could she have known that in reality, Daniel would turn around and use that very computer to plan and eventually carry out her very own murder? I want to give a huge thank you to my gold tier and god tier patrons.
Gold tier and god tier patrons? Damn.